Welcome back, friends. Last guy here, and it's time for more The Great Ace Attorney. And we're about to see what the case is about, because we have no clue. Oh, check the volume. Okay, yeah, there. All right. 18th of February, 10 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Alright, the jury system. I had to do 6 different voices. Oh, F me in the face. Alright. So, oh god, how am I going to be consistent with all these characters? Oh no! Oh no, LP over. Voice LP over. There's no judge, it says... Well, there's also a judge, but... Oh god. Are they different every time? I'm already overwhelmed. Let's go. So this is the highest court in Great Britain, the Old Bailey. The centuries of history in this place is palpable, isn't it? It's so different to the Supreme Court in Japan. It feels both imposing and serene at the same time. No, not to that second part. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. May I say something, Mr. Naruhodo? You've already been saying things. Oh, yes, what? Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. I know, but I just can't help it. There's the judge. Also, there's our... Oh, he's in the same voice, I don't care. Although he looks like Santa. Ho, ho, ho! In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Mr. Magnus McGilded. I now call upon the counsel for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. What am I giving this guy? Freaking Dracula up in here. The prosecution is fully prepared. Go with that! That must be the Reaper of the Bailey. He really does look fully prepared to dispatch his next poor victim to the underworld. Counsel for the defense, you appear to be Eastern. Do you speak English? He's not getting the same voice as the judge from Japan. Because look at him, he's Santa. So I'm trying to be Santa-y. Huh? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. But he asked if the defense was ready. And I couldn't be further from ready if I tried. He's got a sword too. Those eyes please me, Nipponese. Huh? They shroud your fear, your doubt, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. It's gonna take a bit to find that voice. A cold shiver just ran down my spine all the way to the tips of my toes. No, Mr. McGilded. Yes, my lord. What the hell was that? You stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You could be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner? As I've always said, my lord, 'tis a grand thing to give opportunities to the young. Even if the fella is a student from Little Island in the Far East. Is it not the British way to ignore the dangers to yourself and give those less fortunate a fair chance? What is this accent? I'd like to think that the acts of chivalry do the great British Empire proud. Listen to McGilded, what a fine gentleman London has in him. Did you hear that he donated £5,000 to the government the other day? Mother, please maybe go and play Mr. McGilded's park. What the hell? It seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilded. That's definitely welcome news, and he certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him. This other guy's just that good. Eloquently put, Mr. McGilded, and most laudable sentiments. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly remind you that you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed? I'm gonna forget these voices hard. Every episode I'm gonna forget these voices. Yes, my lord. If the task is to send rotters to the gallows where they belong, I'm more than ready. At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree. Ha! Any criminal here will soon be wishing they never set eyes on me. Didn't say a word! Brink. Alright. I feel a chill. Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these mitts for my grandson. Oh my god. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, those people are... The jury, yes. That's something we don't have in Japan yet. And you won't for like 200 years. That's right. I've only ever heard about it. Never read about it. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. The judge passes sentence according to the law, but the jurors determine guilt based on common sense. What is common sense? So the defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view. But how exactly do the jurors give their verdict? Thumbs up, thumbs down? That I don't know, but I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses. Yes. Prosecutor von Zeeks. My lord. It's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the courtroom. I thought you'd renounced your fame. I'm known as the Reaper of the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity. So what brings you back? Is there some change of circumstance for which the court should be aware? I leave that to your imagination, my lord. So the Reaper has been out of action for 5 years. Why did he have to choose today of all days to make a comeback? Don't lose heart, Mr. Naruhodo. I assume that's when she's speaking English instead of Japanese. As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please. Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity. We must be the only ones in here who aren't aware. I literally just got into town. The incident took place in the late evening, 3 days past. The hour was some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks known to the community as Thrice-Fired Mason. Sorry? Thrice? He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible. Ooh, right in the gut! The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service on the streets of London at the time. A dagger had been thrust into the victim's abdomen. This is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. Looks like it. Here's the autopsy report from the investigating medical office at Scotland Yard. Thank you, counsel. I shall accept that and the photograph as evidence. Autopsy report has been entered into the court record. The report prepared by Scotland Yard coroner gives the cause of death as internal hemorrhaging as a result of a single stab wound to the abdomen. Photograph of the crime scene has been added as well. A photograph of the victim taken on the omnibus. The knife in his abdomen is clearly visible, but his face is partly obscured from the view by an old crooked hat. And one further item of evidence. The prosecution wishes to submit these as well. And these are... Good lord! Is that blood, counsel? Yes, my lord. Seized by a policeman who arrived at the scene. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. What? Mr. McGilden's gloves had blood on them? Rob. Yes, I will accept these as evidence as well. The defendant's leather gloves have been added. Leather gloves the defendant was wearing at the time of the incident. There is a bloodstain on the right glove. How did I get into this? I'm backed into a corner before I've even started. Continuing. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Only 2? Obviously, one of these passengers was the deceased brickmaker, Mr. Mason. The other was the accused, Magnus McGilded. Well, rather damning circumstances to say the least. Defendant, what say you? Well, of course, I have no recollection of such a thing. Mr. McGilded! To be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening. But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness, and I always succumb to it. Are you claiming to have been asleep? 'Tis the motion of the carriage, my lord. Litten, so it is, and when I opened my eyes again, 'twas a desperate sight before me, the body of a man I'd never laid eyes on before in my life. Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about my gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. So the blood got onto the gloves then, after the man had been killed. Unfortunately, that statement of the drivers is only the beginning. What? That's not all of it? There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed. Huh? Typey type. Is she also the stenographer? Oh dear. Seriously? When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage. And there were witnesses to the crime. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused. Why am I giving a gravel voice is my question right now? Thank you, counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we will hear testimony from these witnesses first of all. I'm trying to give him like a cheerier voice because he's Santa than the judge in Japan because he's not Santa. Your wish is my command. Bailiff, bring the witnesses in at once. Are we doing a multi again? We're doing a multi-witness? Yeah, we are. Too many voices. 3 witnesses, your names and occupations. My name is, well, everyone calls me Beppo. I drive an omnibus in the East End. Bruce Fairplay. I'm a banker in the city. My name's first. Lady first. I make hats for gents. Is it secretly a lady or not secretly a lady? Because lady... Or it's just a gentleman. It could be that because ladies first. Let's begin by confirming the facts. 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in the stand were in the omnibus and witness to the aforementioned incident. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Quite right. Yes, sir, that's right, sir. Very well, then. Let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw. Oh my god, the freaking font. What the witnesses saw. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had few customers I remembered well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did. Couldn't help it. I just realized, you know who's perfect for this guy? Guy whose name I can't remember, he's in 30 Rock? He is Fix-It Felix. Fix-It Felix, that's the voice. Let me try to find Fix-It Felix, that's perfect for this guy. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too. That's it? That's still going? Okay. Unambiguous Testimony, I say? Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. I'd like to ask a question, if I may. Yes, Counsel? Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why not? Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? As has been clearly stated from the outset, yes. Well, in that case, how could these two witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of the moving carriage. How quaint. I'd read that civilization in the Eastern Island nations was a good century behind our own. But you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses? Huh? Tell me, my Nipponese friend, have you even traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. We, only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves the actual scene of the crime, that is. What do you mean, the actual scene? How? A carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably you understand that much. Yeah. The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today. In this very building. Here? What? The entire carriage? Bailiff. Bring forth the stricken omnibus. Holy crap, the whole thing's here. Just rolled it in. Just rolled that sucker in. So that's an omnibus. The omnibus. I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. It'd be crazy if someone brought in a parrot, right? As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. It's a big old bus. Oh, there's top, okay. 4 passengers seated inside in the enclosed cabin, and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had on the top of an omnibus. And I should point out to our foreign guests that there's a skylight in the roof, allowing a view of the interior from the seats above. Did I say job masters up there? A skylight? Oh! The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats on this omnibus when the murder took place. That is how they came to witness the Grimm's incident. Through the skylight. Huh, that makes perfect sense. Well, Counsel, this is a first. In all my years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself being brought into the courtroom. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish. Very well. I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. The omnibus has been entered. 8-seater omnibus that was the scene of the crime. There were passengers both inside the carriage and on the roof deck at night. We're going to look at everything once we get to cross-examination. I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence? Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I could help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. Let us continue with proceedings, then. Your cross-examination, Counsel? Pray don't expect this Nipponese stray to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights. Alright, first cross-examination at a British court. Focus, Ryunosuke. Focus. Don't whip out your sword. Cross-examination font. Alright. What the witness saw. Look at those playing guys. Let's take a look at all this stuff. First, the people. How old is this freaking guy? So she's 16, 52, 48. To indicate he's an incredibly wealthy philanthropist with a wonderful reputation in London. I'm going to defend him as a test of my worthiness as a lawyer. To become a lawyer. 32! So he was 27 when he stopped. Prosecutor known as the Reaper of the Bailey. Supposedly the souls of those he prosecutes are eternally damned, one way or another. Thrice-fired mason, the victim, a skilled but poor brickmaker who lived in the East End. What was it, 48, 54? Okay. Beppo! Beppo sounds familiar. It's a reference to something. The driver of the omnibus on which the murder took place. He's an eyewitness to the incident. Bruce Fairplay. Gentleman who works as a city banker. He witnessed the incident from his seat on the roof deck of the omnibus. Lady First. An apprentice milliner, who witnessed the incident from his seat on the roof deck of the omnibus. Evidence. Let's take a look. Autopsy report. First one, brickmaker, cause of death. 10 to 11. Stabbed once in the abdomen with a knife whilst journeying on an omnibus. Died due to internal hemorrhaging, resulting from the trauma. Next, the picture. Button missing. Stabbed. Got a hat. The hell's that over there? There's something out there. The only clues we got is stabbed, hat, and button. Alright. Clues. Let's take a look at the blood. This is definitely blood, isn't it? Not the most pleasant sight to be confronted with on our first day in London. Well, nothing will come crumbling now. No, by the way, is Mr. McGillicuddy right-handed? Yes, I believe so. He was toying with a coin in his right hand a little earlier. Huh, pity. If only he'd been left-handed. I think blood on either glove would be fairly incriminating, really. But would you stab with your non-dominant hand? Take a look around. Inside. Other side. Yeah, I don't see any clues of any kind. The carriage itself can be examined. Alright, take a look up okay, look up here. So this is the roof deck of the omnibus. Oh, you must have a wonderful view of London streets from up here. So people sit all the way up here on bitter winter nights with the cold air rushing past them? And they had to pay money to do so? I can't imagine how cold it must feel. That just made me think of something horrible. Can you imagine being dragged around the city in the freezing cold as punishment? Perhaps that is the real price you pay to stay out late. Wait, that's all I can do up there? I want to look at the skylines. Look up here, but the backside. Jobmasters London head office, huh? This is the roof of the deck of the omnibus. Oh, you must be one. Okay, same thing. I wanted to look at the skyline, but you guys can't. Okay. See what else there is. Wheels. Omnibus. Jobmasters. Alright. Door. We can open it. Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? The scene of a murder is horrible. It's horrible. In. Oh, we're straight up in. Oh, let's see what's this. This seat has a handle, it seems. Items. Alright, look into the treasure chest in a second. This looks like all sorts of equipment that might be needed to keep the omnibus running. Feeding tubes, tools to repair wheels, blankets, horseshoeing tools. So it's a storage compartment for the coachman to keep his things, it seems. There doesn't seem to be any space for passengers to stow their luggage, that's for sure. Well, I don't imagine it would be very convenient for that purpose anyway. I'm surprised I don't get a check mark if I've already looked at something, right? Yeah, I'm surprised I don't get a check mark if I already looked. Get back in there! Not done looking, not done looking. The freaking lack of music right now because I'm doing it at this moment. Seat. This seat looks reasonably soft, but it's actually rather hard when you sit on it. And only just wide enough for two gentlemen to sit side by side, really. Of course, an English gentlewoman would be dressed in such finery. It would be quite impossible for her to climb up to the roof deck, so she would have to be seated here. A woman in a kimono would have the same problem. Women's clothes are very impractical, aren't they? What are you saying? Let's see here. London. They look like the tower to anyone else? Oh, that's supposed to be the great exhibition that's due to start in 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn to the Crystal Tower. Oh, I see. The centerpiece of the whole exposition. We're going to do something with that, I'm sure. Ooh, the Crystal Tower. It's under construction already, I believe. People over London must be fizzing with excitement at the prospect of such a grand event. Window. We're going to look up at the skylight last. Look at the blued. That's blood that's soaked into the seat. The victim's, obviously. Yes, and that seat would be clearly visible from the roof deck. Would you really stab somebody in full view of the other passengers like that, I wonder? Well, it was after dark, and there was a lamp on in here. Perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. Whichever way you look at it, doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. Notice. Ah, that's a poster for the Grace. Just different poster, just different poster. Light. I don't know. This is what I want to look at. That's quite a large skylight, isn't it? Yes, quite large enough to afford a good view into the cabin from the roof deck. And there doesn't appear to be a handle or catch of any description. So I suppose it can't be opened from inside the cabin, at least. Only problem is McGilwood was asleep during all this, right? So obviously the front seat can't see, but the back seat can. As far as I know, that's everything we can see in here. Have you seen enough? Let's step back outside. As far as I know, I've seen enough. Okay, now... I think we've seen it. Oh, we can rotate. Oh, okay. Phoenix Wright Omnibus? Oh my god, you're kidding me. Can I look at the skylight from here? There we go. You can certainly see inside the carriage this opening, that's for sure. Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin. I'm sure the witness would have been able to see quite clearly. That's not good for us. Phoenix Wright Omnibus. Oh my god, these little references and Easter eggs, huh? Anything here? Doesn't look like it. Oh, this is where the coach would be. I mean, the driver would be. Okay, that's everything, I guess. Okay. That's enough. Let's do the cross-examination now. It's time to press, everybody. It was the... Oh yeah, I read all this. So... Press. Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it? Oh yes, sir. That's right, sir. Yes. It was so cold. It was freezing, in fact. And you had 4 passengers on board at the time? Is that correct? Oh yes, that's right, sir. Not all traveling in the same parts of the bus, of course. Though no. Alright, no new opinions here. And there were no other passengers when the incident took place? No one alighted, for example. You're quite right with that, sir. No other passengers like that. No, none. So nobody fled the scene of the crime, then? I had to say, the boss insists on it running as he does every evening, that last buzz of the day. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, sorry to say. What do you mean by that? Well, what with being so cold and everything, and only making 20 pence on the run, you see. Yes, I spent that much time at the pub on the way home, just trying to warm up again. Yeah, nothing useful there. We're sat next to each other inside the bus. Press.
Hold it!
And you saw them through the skylight in the roof of the carriage? Carriage. This is the easiest one to look through. That's right, when you sit up on the top deck. The window's right there at your feet. There was a lamp on the inside, so I had a pretty good view. The two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. But there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilded. How can you be so sure? Well, how can I put it politely? Mr. McGilded is a gentleman of rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. Let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilded. There's no room for doubt there. I really wish there was. Alright, press.
Hold it!
You actually saw the exact moment it happened? Didn't I already testify to that? Or our fair dinkum hard-working city bank is not considered trustworthy these days. When are they ever? Oh, no, I didn't mean that. This is no good. I've really got his back up. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail, if that's... My lord! Juror number 3, what's the meaning of this? My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? I don't like the stinking rich. Never have. They're always up to something or other that they shouldn't be. Every one of them. And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, he can't fool me. He's already judged? There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter anyway. That is precisely what I was about to say. You can just judge now? As the foreman of the jury, it is my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors. The case hasn't oh my god, really? Put the pressure on. What is happening here? Let me see. Ah, yes. It seems that how the members of the jury give their verdicts. With fire? Apparently, yes. White for innocence, and black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago. Holy balls! So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean... Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Now I'm even more worried than I was before. Very well. The court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. These interruptions are a bit rude, aren't they? This is a nightmare. In the middle of a press, wasn't I? Here we go. He stabbed him, you say? And you were sitting up on the roof deck, were you? Yes, that's right, sir. I was up on the roof seat. Oh my god, I can't do that voice at all.
Excuse me.
Oops. I didn't mean to do that. My name, Mr. Fairplay. What are you fussing for now? That last statement appears to have given you pause for thought. No, it didn't! I was just hitting A, not really. By the way, you always seem to be looking to the side one way or another. You have some affliction? Not really. He's not really willing to say anything, it seems. None of your business, anyhow. It's not none of your business, anyhow. Okay, so... Wait, I wasn't... Ah, crap, I gotta go back. Alright, so when it happened, the only 2 people in the enclosed cabin area were the victim and the defendant. And so help me, 3 whole people witnessed the man I'm trying to defend to do the deed. I don't like to be pessimistic, but we do seem to be in a rather difficult situation here. Ugh. What am I supposed to do to... what am I supposed to think here? Is Mr. McGilded really innocent? Or could it be... Before we jump to conclusions, our first task should be to gather information. We need to understand the case much better than we do at the moment. Yes, you're absolutely right. Let's listen to those witnesses' statements again. A little more carefully this time. Forward. 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 Press. I just wanted to look at everyone else's reactions. I didn't mean to freaking... here we go. I remember seeing the little gent sitting next to the fella that was stabbed. Going with that voice now. I've been thinking about a new hat design, you see, so I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out from his belly. That huge great knife. A grim sight indeed. Huh, that didn't help me at all. Rubber. Miss Clean. It's like, I am so guilty. The jury looked like they're even more convinced my client did it than they were before. That appears to have made everyone even more dubious that Mr. McGilded is telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions. Doing? Mr. First. Oh, yes, sir? Is this the knife you saw? Oh, good grief, yes, that's it. The very one, sir. Is that? Yes, Counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. That is a blade of considerable size, Counsel. It is, and furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. The letter M, which seems oddly familiar. Please no. M for Magnus, perhaps, or McGilded, perhaps. Take your pick. It seems that particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake. Objection. So weird when he says it. But there are M's everywhere. Like, yes. Like in Mason.
Objection.
Oh, look at his. This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. No, this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused. Also, his voice is objection, but not like that. That was really bad. Objection. Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, Counsel. A murder weapon has been added. Okay, a largish knife that was found lodged in the victim's abdomen. Its quality and fancy ornamentation suggests it might be quite valuable. My lord, if you'll forgive the interruption. Ah, crap! Juror number 2. Go on. Mr. McGilded is a pillar of society and a gentleman, and a gentleman's word should be sacrosanct. However, those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Wait, what are you about to do? Dispose of the rubbish. No! Okay, so is majority or unanimous, or what do I need? Do I just need by the end majority? No! We're at a tie at the moment, if possible. I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. No! I have painstakingly typed every word uttered here today, and cross-referenced all the facts. As such, I am now in a position to draw the only logical conclusion. Okay, so we can turn this around, or are we just done? So we're going to turn around a full 6. Is that the game? Alright. Not again. That's 4 out of 6 jury members who proposed a guilty verdict. There are only 2 left. We've had it! Every time I press these witnesses for more information, I just make the situation worse. Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. I suppose I'll just have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may well fly. We mustn't give up hope that will uncover something that will give us a way to fight back. What? Alright, I'll keep trying. Right now we're searching for evidence in quicksand is what we're doing. I can't give up. I just need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again. Alright, as soon as you heard the scream, Prius.
Hold it!
What exactly did you see? Well, sir, that would be a passenger, sir. Yes, collapsed on the floor he was. How? And by the passenger, obviously, you are referring to the victim, Mr. Mason the brickmaker. And then the other passenger had that knife in his hand like this. By the other passenger, obviously, you are referring to the accused, Mr. Magnus McGilded. And then plunged it down like this, stabbing the other passenger in the belly. What? How did you see that in the front of the carriage? Oh, don't you dare! My lord, I wish to speak. Yes, juror number 5. Do I take it that you too, as master of the London Guild of Coachmen, the idea of a murder being committed in one of the city's carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. It wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though, I said to myself. If you are a coach dude, then you know damn well that dude could not see anything from where he was. But I've heard enough now, and the horse has bolted, as they say. No, please, just keep an open mind a little more. Gee up now, Silver Blaze. The finish is in sight. Gee up. Ook. Beppo's a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says. Okay, I'm giving everyone southern voices. I gotta fix that. No, thank you, sir. Too kind, sir. This is too unkind, sir. Which now means that 5 jurors agree to condemn this man. Little old lady. Madam Juror number 6. Yes, dear? What can I do for you? You have heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand? Oh, yes, I certainly have. I still got my hearing, you know. Then pray tell, why are you yet to pronounce your leaning? Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park at around this time of day and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting. Okay. There's a lovely little park just near where I live. McGilded Park, it's called. The gentleman donated it to the city, you know. To put a smile on Londoner's face, he said. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. He's always wonderful things for the city. That's right, a man like that wouldn't stay with someone, will surely? Mother, maybe go to McGilded Public Library after and borrow some more books. How many Londoners live with their heads in the clouds? Do you people not know what kind of a man Magnus McGilded really is? What kind of a man he is? The philanthropist Magnus McGilded has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. But where did all that wealth come from? Your client is a Shylock, sir, and one with the very darkest of souls. What? Stolen the crows? Art. McGilded lends money to at extortionate fee rates of interest, so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When they default, he takes possession of everything they own. He's a vulture that preys on the weak. I've never heard any mention of that before. Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madam. So has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of his own? Oh, hey, crap, but he's a man of the people, so... What possible reason could this man have had to make use of a public omnibus service? You not saying that. The victim, a poor brickmaker, had next to nothing in his name, save considerable financial reliability. It will come as no surprise that his creditor was the accused, Magnus McGilded. But let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment day for his debts. Good gracious! The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which to repay his debts. And in the end, his pitiful soul had the very last thing he owned taken from him. His life. By the merciless philanthropist pretender, Magnus McGilded. I don't believe it. That's her? If I might add something briefly. Mrs. Sato? You claim that the victim had been lent money by Mr. McGilded. But where's the evidence to support your claim? About to come up. Does anyone else see two objects that weren't there a minute ago? Should you be drinking wine in court? Should you be drinking wine in court? Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice in a court of law. Ah, there it is! Lord Van Zeek's hallowed chalice! Oh, how can this be considered acceptable? But I find myself unexpectedly good humor. I had heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I didn't expect to experience it myself. Ah! As judicial assistant to the defense, I am simply doing my job. What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You will find the victim's name clearly recorded inside. Oh. Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. And pray forgive the discourtesy of raising my chalice in a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. A marvelous toast, Counsel. I will gladly accept this new evidence. And a sip. Catalog people who had borrowed money from the defendant at a high rate of interest includes the victim who owed 20 guineas. Ah yes, 20 guineas. The victim owed a considerable sum. And the accused made quite certain he had ample recompense. Well, it would seem I've had the world poured over my eyes. Regrettably, madam, that is the modus operandi of the accused. And it's such a pretty little perk, too. What a scoundrel. No, madam, no. Okay, so we can't just lose, right? Still, maybe it's all for the best. Wait a minute. Let's think about this a little bit before. I don't stand for nonsense. Ah, balls. Did we just lose? Game over? Ugh. That was it? Last juror's decision. According to this Encyclopedia of British Law, when all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. That's what it says here. Ha! The final verdict? It's over then. Oh. There's a footnote, though. A footnote? However, the defense... All 6 members of the jury are now in agreement in this case. Okay, the moment the objectors were going to stop. I feel like I got Rod here. Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. According to the laws of this country, I will now conclude the trial by delivering my final verdict. I trust there are no objections? Mrs. Sato, just tell me one thing. Oh, yes? You were in the middle of saying something before. The footnote in your Encyclopedia of British Law, however, the defense... What did it say next? Oh yes, of course. One moment. When all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. Then the footnote says, however, the defense has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors at this point. What's that? A summation? Examination?
Objection!
A summation examination? In which century has that tome you have there been resurrected? Ah! Judging from the binding, I would say that book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text on British law wouldn't even give such an antiquated procedure a mention. It's a relic, long forgotten and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck. Oh. Fix the bend. What even is it, Mrs. Sato? This so-called summation examination. It rhymes, by the way. Oh, one moment and I'll read about it. You would demand the right to a procedure before you even understand what it entails? Huh. Typical Nipponese. This is the first you've met as far as we know. Alright, Mr. Naruhodo. I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure, you would be able to appeal to the members of the jury. To do what, exactly? Appeal to them to change their leaning and reverse their decisions, and it says here that if successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed. Make them reverse their decisions? Yes, in times gone by, barristers would use a summation examination in an attempt to influence the jury's decision. But that procedure became something of a formality with no practical benefit really, so it rather fell out of use. I wonder why. Because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone of several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try in this day and age. We have to turn all 6, okay. Still, I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? A summation examination. Our last possible option. Do we assert our right to carry it out or admit defeat? Assert your right, boy! Okay, after we hit this, we'll save. Assert your right to partay. Alright, the defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord. And we'll stop right there. Rob. I assume they're gonna grumble. Right there, save right there. Oh, jeez. Getting just taken raw here. Okay. So next time, we will summation examination and try to turn the people. Now, who do you think? Make your bets. Who's the first to get turned? Now, if you already played the game, don't make your bet. Unless it's actually random. Not random, but actually there's multiple ways to get to a different person getting turned. You would think the old lady's going to be the easiest to turn. I think the carriage guy will be, because, like, he can't see from there. So I'm going to, if you can pick, I'm going after number 5. If you can't pick, then I'm actually curious who they turn first. Like a random guess. I'm thinking number 5. So that right there is the game for now. I had fun. Hope you have fun watching. That's what's all about it. Having fun. Thanks, goodbye, and see you next time. When I try to remember all the voices I just did today, tomorrow. We'll see if I remember. Probably not. But we'll see.